Let me tell you what's crazy. Every time I say, okay, this is the worst Democrat politician, an even worse one pops up just to prove me wrong. Zohran Mamdani. He's probably gonna be the next mayor of New York City. You wanna vote for him? You gotta bear the consequences of his beautiful, beautiful policies. For example, defunding the police. You know what's the most important thing in a state, country, or city? It's not healthcare, it's not education, it's not the economy, it's safety. You can never, ever, ever live somewhere where you don't feel safe, always threatened, and you always have to keep looking over your shoulder because you're scared of getting robbed or stabbed in the neck. Look at this. In Q1 of 2025, shootings dropped 23% citywide versus previous years, and the number of murders was the second lowest quarter ever recorded. Now, from January through May, that's almost half of the year, New York City recorded its lowest number of shootings and murders ever for that period. 264 shootings and 112 murders. Now don't get me wrong, 264 and 112 is still a lot, but it's still the record. A record's a record. That all happened because NYPD's funding increased that year. I think it was by $1 billion. When they have more money, they have more resources, they have more manpower, they have more equipment, they have more people protecting the city and making the city safer. It's just logical. But on top of all that, what's worse is that Zohran Mamdani wants to decriminalize every single misdemeanor. Meaning, from now on, you're allowed to assault, sexual harass, steal and shoplift, anything under $1,000. That's not a crime anymore. So the next time you want to steal something, go ask him, hey sir, how much does that phone cost? If he says $999, take it and run. Who's gonna catch you? No one. If he says it's $1,001, say, okay, it's a bit too expensive for me. Don't buy it. Drugs in your possession, trespassing, driving under the influence, becoming a prostitute to any prostitute. If it's been your long life dream to become a prostitute, congratulations, your dreams can come true now. Forging and bribing people. I don't care if you're left, right, up or down. Decriminalizing misdemeanors is something very, very dangerous. And on top of all that, he wants to defund the police. Let's take a look at what happened in history after defunding the police. After NYPD's 2020 budget reallocation around $1 billion in defunding, murders rose by 47%. Oh my days. And shootings more than doubled from 2019 and 2021. After George Floyd's killing in 2020, which significantly cut funding after 2020 protests, the very, very peaceful protests, unlike Charlie Kirk's death, which were very, very violent. A violent crime jumped and they reversed the cuts within a year after public outcry. The people said, please, please, we need more police. And the city listened. Good thing the city listened. Homicides rose sharply in 2020 and 2021 from 46 in 2019, 79 in 2020, and 96 in 2021. Okay, now let's talk about my favorite policy ever, taxing the wealthy. Of course, you should tax them more. What do you think is gonna happen when you tax them? They're gonna leave immediately. Let's be straight. In 2021, the top 1% paid 48% of the income taxes, around $8 billion, which is 10% of the total budget. It's crazy. 1% of New York City residents are paying half of the income taxes. $8 billion. Imagine that. What's gonna happen if they leave? Between 2018 and 2022, over 125,000 New York City residents relocated to Florida. Imagine that. Between 2011 and 2021, New York State experienced a net loss of $111 billion in adjusted gross income due to outmigration. People are leaving to Florida. What? Oh no, I needed that. Give me a second. Why? $111 billion, 10% is $11 billion. Imagine that. Just vanishing from your budget because of higher taxes. And what's worse, they want to tax businesses. You think the wealthy and the business owners are going to leave alone? Absolutely not. They're going to take everything they own and just leave. And what's going to happen to the New York residents, to the employees? They're going to get fired. They're going to get replaced. More jobs are going to get created in Florida or Texas. New York is going to suffer from a huge unemployment rate, a huge spike. Is that what you want? I don't think the New York City residents want that. Honestly, let's be straight. Look at this. New York and California raised business and personal taxes heavily, resulting in outmigration of companies like Tesla, Oracle, and Charles Schwab, and hundreds of thousands of jobs lost and relocated their HQs to low-tax states like Texas. I told you. What will happen to the economy if the employees are fired? Who's gonna drive and boost the economy if they don't have jobs, if they don't have money? Who's going to be the driving factor to circulate the money and spend it? No one. There's going to be a recession, and you might think at least we're safe from inflation. No! How do you think the businesses that aren't able or don't want to leave New York are gonna protect themselves from higher taxes? They're simply gonna raise their prices just to protect their profits from the tax hikes. That's simply put. So right now, if you think at least, okay, it may be work in the long term, it's never gonna work. When businesses get taxed more, they're gonna increase their prices. When they increase their prices, everything becomes more expensive. People buy less. So the businesses are gonna make less in sales, hence less in profit. Stay with me here. The government is gonna tax businesses higher on lower profits. Let me give you an example. Imagine a business making $20 million in profit gets taxed 10%. That's $2 million added to the budget for the government, right? Now imagine if the government increased taxes by 20%. So it was 10%, now it's 12%. Because of that increase, businesses are gonna raise their prices, make less in sales, make less in profit. So in this case, imagine the tax rate is 12% and the business made $15 million in profit. 12% of 15 million is 1.8 million. Compared to the previous year, which was 2 million, the government made less in taxes in total. So in a nutshell, businesses will make less money, the government will collect less taxes, prices will increase, and people are gonna lose their jobs. Now, let me ask you a question. When taxes are raised, who do you think is going to be affected the most? The middle class. With higher taxes and the cost of living going up, they're gonna have less disposable income, less money to save, less money to invest, their purchasing power is gonna decrease, the quality of their life is gonna decrease, people are gonna actually feel way more poorer. People know how to spend their money better than the government knows how to spend their money for them. Wow, that's just a beautiful quote. Someone clip that. For the next policy, raising minimum wages from $16.5 to $30. That's an 80% increase. Small businesses are already gonna take a big hit from the tax increase. Imagine what raising the minimum wage by 80% is gonna do to them. Small businesses like restaurants, retail stores, salons, tattoo shops, I have no idea, are gonna face skyrocketing payroll expenses. Imagine a restaurant having 20 employees earning $16.5 per hour. It's not gonna work for them. Many would cut staff, reduce hours, or close permanently. Profit margins are often 3 to 7%. That would vanish. Imagine, that would get destroyed. Who's gonna make money when costs are that up? No one. No one. You know how people are looking for jobs right now? Well, it's gonna get a billion times tougher. Why? Because no one's gonna hire if the minimum wage increases by 80%. You think it's very hard for you to find a job right now? Wait until Zohran Mamdani comes to office. Actually, maybe you can find a job at a communist mosque, maybe. Ask Zohran. Let's take an example. When Seattle raised its minimum wage to $15 an hour, that was a 60% increase. Right now it's an 80%. Studies from the University of Washington found that low-wage workers saw a net loss in total earnings due to fewer hours and job cuts. At the end of the year, the employee made less money because he got fired or the hours he worked got reduced. Businesses that survive are just gonna pass the cost down to the customers. When you go to a restaurant, expect prices to be higher by 40 to 60%. You have no idea how serious that problem is. This is going to lead to a city-wide inflation spiral, reducing purchasing power even to those making $30 an hour. In short, $30 per hour might sound rich until a sandwich costs $25. Now another stupid policy, I know there are a lot, but bear with me, is Zohran Mamdani wants to open government-owned grocery stores, which is so stupid, making the prices lower, but you're paying for it indirectly. Theoretically, when governments start opening grocery stores, prices are cheaper, right? So people are just gonna go there all the time. No one's gonna go to Walmart, Target, blah, blah, blah. Now here's the problem. Walmart, Target, and blah, blah, blah are gonna fire all their employees to get their costs down because they're not making a lot of sales, hence they're not making a lot of profit. So they're gonna cut their costs, fire a lot of people they're not using because people are not gonna work anymore if people are not gonna buy. So the city is gonna raise more taxes to cover the deficit in the grocery stores because they're losing money and demand is increasing. And people are paying less in taxes because they're making less in profit, and people are fired so they don't have jobs, so they're not paying personal income taxes. You see, less in taxes, higher costs. That's it. That's a huge cycle, and when they increase the taxes, more businesses actually are gonna leave. People are gonna get even more fired. It's just a cycle. But at least that's all in applied theory, and we're never ever gonna reach to that point because, simply put, government grocery stores never work. The products are gonna be very, very bad quality. Number two, the stores are gonna be very inefficient, like every single government-owned business. I don't know what you wanna call it. And number three, the stores are gonna be empty because of shortages. You know what's funny? In the late USSR, to get meat, to get imported food, good quality products, you'd often have to bribe the people working there or even the Communist Party. But right now in New York City, if Zohran Mamdani becomes mayor, you're gonna have to slip him a copy of the Communist Manifesto, the book, under the table to get some milk. Now, okay, I'm way too tired. After all the policies, he has like a billion more. Disgusting, very dangerous, inefficient policies. But right now, let's just take a look at the total experience he has in his life. Let's take a look.
Hi, really quick, I was just looking for a manager.
I love it.
Accepting
I love that
job
guy.
applications at the movie theater? Okay, can I leave a resume? Sure. So he was an intern for his mom, and then he was a rapper that didn't work out. Are those qualities that you would hire to like sell popcorn? No, not really. Do you think he could work at a movie theater? He was a failed rapper? No. He missed half his current job, half the days. Would that be a problem at Regal?
Yeah.
Oh, really? So you probably know on the hiring room? Alright, well, I'll just leave his resume for you. His name's Zohran. Have a nice day.
See, you heard it live here. If these people aren't gonna hire him, 0% chance of hiring him, how are you going to vote for him, and how are you gonna trust him to become the next mayor of New York City?